Hey there, Evil Dead fans! Welcome to another episode of the Ash vs. Evil Dead After Show on AFTERBUZZ TV. Tonight, we are talking about Season 2, Episode 8, Ashy Slashy. We have got a ton of great stuff to talk about tonight, and we have a very special guest with us tonight. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin!
I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty sure this is the sound of my heart breaking. Because what?
Everything is terrible.
But also really awesome. Like, all things considered. How are you all feeling tonight?
Oh boy, I am feeling just so many things.
Yeah.
I'm having feelings, and that's weird.
I feel exceptionally emotionally compromised. However, like, there was a lot of really cool stuff that happened too. So I feel like we're at the point in the series now where I feel like this happened last season too, where like it kind of starts off and bad stuff is happening, but then like part of the way through it's like they really just are like, no, that person you cared about, we're just gonna kill all of them in one episode and it's gonna be fine.
You're gonna get over it and you're gonna thank us for it later. It'll be great. I'm feeling a combination of things. I am sad and distraught at what we just saw, but I'm also very excited, guys, because we have a very special guest joining us tonight. In the studio with us is the wonderful Dana DeLorenzo.
Hi guys! Ah, so many feels. I'm protesting. Hear that, stars? I'm protesting. Right out in the back. Until this is resolved.
Until these grievances have been addressed.
That is true. Yes, true.
Let me go ahead and introduce the rest of the fantastic panel joining me tonight. To my left, Lex Michael.
I am Lex Michael. My heart is so heavy in this moment, you guys. I am all over social media at the Lex Michael.
Lacretia Lyon.
Hey guys, since I'm Lacretia Lyon, you can always find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet, since there is only one. And luckily there were puppets in this episode to make me happy a little bit.
Yay, some good Muppet fun.
Even if they were murder puppets.
Puppets are the best.
Emma Fyffe.
That's me, Emma Fyffe. I can be found all over the internet at my name, Emma Fyffe, EMMAFYFFE. And there's already a hashtag started in the chat here, which is Pablo ain't dead.
Yeah, I like that one.
And everyone is very happy to see you, Dana.
Hi guys.
Not even save Pablo. Like, he's not dead.
No,
it's
we
just-
don't even
we're
accept it.
We're just skipping straight to the denial.
Right.
phase.
I was gonna say, isn't that the first stage?
That's actually the first stage of
Denial.
grief. So yeah, there's no skipping.
Okay, so yeah, we're firmly in it right
And
now.
refusing to move through it.
Right.
We will never accept this.
Well, I want Pablo to be like Kenny, and oh my God, you killed Pablo, you bastards. See, there's your line. Yeah.
Oh yeah, kill Kenny.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just did that. That's my feeling.
Yeah.
I feel like this episode, I tweeted this, is so Evil Dead and has so many Evil Dead moments that
it
it how
does.
Evil Dead did itself.
That's the thing.
I really
It really
do.
did.
I agree with you, Dana, that I feel like it really captured that Evil Dead spirit of it. Like, it is a horror film,
Yeah.
but it's also really funny. And then you are like, should I be laughing? I'm not really sure, but
Yeah, with a lot of the gross out like humor this season, it's far and above like a lot of what we've seen in the actual films. So it's like I can't believe like the show would go to that extreme, but at the same time you are still laughing, and then it'll throw something really heartfelt and sincere at you, and you're like, there's a torrent of emotions going on right now.
And I think that this reminded me of, in a way, I think it was way more, like I said, Evil Dead than episode 3 when we were at the bar with.
Sure, yeah.
Because that one did have a lot of fun stuff. There was a deadite, but it was more humorous because like you kind of already knew that Ash was going to win.
Absolutely.
But then right at the end, that happens with Brock.
Right.
And you're like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. And in this case, I feel like there were so many moments that you thought, okay, so now we have Lacey within the first 5 minutes. I mean, she's ripping Sheriff Emery's head out and saying the backbone thing and is throwing Pablo against the wall and fighting with Kelly and then and then we have like crazy, truly evil Ash.
Oh, yeah.
For the first time. So many of these moments that you're like, okay. And then we get to the end and it's like, okay, we're defeating him.
Yep.
Win. Go Speeders.
Yeah.
And then you're
Yeah.
like, wait, what? And like, you rewind it. And I feel like this was just so jam-packed and with so many loose ends to tie up, so many new things introduced. And I have to give credit to our incredible team of writers and the showrunner Craig DiGregorio, and specifically shout out to Aaron Lamb and Suzanne Kelly, who wrote this whole episode, and they nailed it.
It was amazing. I mean, to me, what's most impressive about this episode is the fact that, as you say, there's so much that happens in this episode. By all rights, it should feel like you're running a marathon and it should feel really rushed, but it doesn't. The pacing was brilliant.
Well, and Tony Tilsey was the director for this one, and if you recall, I don't know if you'll remember this episode. It was called The Morgue. Don't know if you'll remember that one. If you'll remember what happened in that one. And so he directed that one as well as Last Call, the one in the bar with Brock, and this one. If that's and he did. I believe it was 7 and 8 last year. So that's just a testament to how well he knows this universe and this world. And I think these have been some of our best episodes are the ones he's directed.
And the way this season, especially, all of the characters have been developed and arced, but in a way that isn't immediately obvious. Like, they've been, in a big way, they've been quietly character arcing Ash this entire season. And it's not really until these last 2 episodes where they really go like, oh, hey, by the way, while you've been watching all the blood and the chainsaw dismemberment stuff, we've also been telling the story of this dude actually growing for the first time. He refers to Kelly as the daughter he never had. That Ash in season 1, I can't imagine those words coming out of his mouth. Tonight, he had a plan, sort of.
Sort of. And it did, but he did. He had a very Ash plan. And like, he might have left out some details. There was just 2 points, and then it was just gonna all work out. But I don't think anyone expected him to be, certainly not Ruby, even she admits it, to be playing ball that whole time. It's like, Ash, well done.
That blew my mind.
I really blew even reading it when you were there, I'm like, oh wow, slow clap for Ash. And like, I mean, and it's funny that you pinpoint that, and I think that is a very astute observation. That is one of the things I love most about the season is we do get to see a more vulnerable Ash when he confronts his past, which is really, when you really think about it, is what the first 2 movies of the franchise were showing him. I mean, the second one, the first one, he is the most vulnerable. And I mean, think about it.
Absolutely.
He was not the badass.
No, not badass
He was
at
not
all.
the cool guy Scotty was.
Yeah.
He was like watching his sister and his girlfriend, all his friends, you know, as he's up against a wall.
Yeah.
Then Evil Dead 2, okay, we start going in a little bit more. And then it's not until Army of Darkness that he is the hero that we see now.
Right.
And I have to say, I feel like the Ash versus Evil Dead Ash is my favorite Ash of all.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
And I love that this season, we've gotten to see that vulnerability, and then also the comedy and his growth.
Because Ash and Ash versus Evil Dead, we get him at a point wherein he's been like, he did all the badass stuff. He's back in this time period. You know, people don't believe him or anything, but he's like past all the Deadite stuff, but like it's still obviously something that weighs very heavily in his mind. So it has continued to plague him, but he's had all this time to kind of live with this idea of being the badass Deadite Slayer, and then they come back into his life, even though like part of him probably really thought, or at least really hoped, that he was done with all of that shit.
Sure.
I mean, part of him. I mean, the man was like, would give anything to be, you know, putting his wooden hand back on the bar.
Yeah, exactly.
Using it to pick up chicks, you know? So, but I think it's great that we've gotten to see a little bit deeper into him and into his world. And I love the growth thing, just to piggyback one more thing on what you said. I mean, when you compare season 1, when Kelly's parents die and he's making those crosses.
Yeah.
The closest he ever came to saying anything somewhat sympathetic or he was really trying, I guess, was, you're kind of like a young me. Deadites ruin your life and you're hot as hell. Okay, backhanded compliment and thanks for the sympathy.
Right.
Then you compare that to where he is now, and with the comment of the you're the daughter I never had. That you're right. It's it sneaks up on you.
Yeah.
Well,
It really does.
And not to mention that she really is very much his protege.
Oh, yeah.
The moment that we have after Kelly kills Lacey, and she just gives this very heartfelt apology. I was like, that actually does sound like something, you know, a younger, more sincere Ash would have said, you know, before all of this stuff happened, but just the way she was like, I'm sorry you got involved in this. I'm sorry, this is the way it had to be.
Yeah, she was a good kid, and she
Yeah.
was, and it's like, sorry.
Yeah, in the moment that she turned up in the hallway, I was like, God damn it.
And I so thought Lacey was going to turn out to be Ash's kid, but I guess they'd rather see that relationship with Kelly. And I do agree that that's a little bit better, is that whole father-daughter relationship you have, because at least you're very Ash-like with the puns and the one-liners.
Yes, thank you. I do enjoy the fact that whenever Kelly and Ash spar, I as the actor in the scene, of course, when you're acting with the king, you're having an amazing time. But I do like just watching them play. I like that the writers have created a strong female character who can go toe to toe with him and call him on his BS, but also from a place of love. Like, she's not just nagging or constantly against him. And I really like that they came up with that.
Yeah.
So, but you know, there's no I in team, and there is no Ghost Beaters without Pablo. No.
So
I can't even say, like, I'm gonna just be in denial. Let's all be in denial. So guys, this was a hilarious episode.
Yeah, it was great. Nothing bad happened ever, and everyone's gonna live happily ever after. He's gonna open up Pablo's fish and chips, and it's gonna be great. And he's gonna help so many people.
What was the name of the fish and chips?
Pablito's fish and chips. Like computer chips, get it?
Yeah.
That was, I said.
They also
There's
fix
so
computers.
There's so much denial. I literally, I was saying this before we started the show. I looked up our hashtag, EBTV Evil Dead, and literally the first thing is somebody tweeting, no!
Probably me.
There was, I think I alluded to this before we got on the mics, but that was the moment where he's talking about his dream of starting this food truck / electronics repair, Pablito's Fish and Chips. I said, this is so adorable that I am now incredibly concerned.
Yeah. There were a lot of, talking about the writing in this episode, there were a lot of good, like, little subtle hints to make the punch of Pablo getting killed at the end of the episode hurt even more. Because, and something that, you know, Ray brought up when he was on our show a little while ago, a couple episodes ago, talking about how Pablo, he's going through some shit, but he's still this never-ending source of optimism and light.
He really is.
And just the moment where he's actually connecting with Ruby.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And then, when like, and it's still yet so funny when he's like, you know, I know you're new to this whole mortal thing, but like, death is actually scary. And then when she just has no mercy, she's like, no, come up with a better idea. But then, when he was finally like having that heart to heart with Ash about, you know, look, I believe in you. I'm not going to give up on you. Like, look, you can do this. And it's just heartbreaking, you know, it really is. But I have to say that's another thing I think this season did really well is there's so many. It's almost like it's so obvious that he was gonna die, but that's too obvious. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just think about every episode. Every episode, he's having these visions of dying.
Yeah.
Think about this. Every episode, he you know, I am becoming the book, and you're like, oh, I'm worried for Pablo. But there's a part of your mind in denial that's like, it's so obvious.
Exactly, because you're so worried for Pablo.
Exactly. There's no way. They're
gonna
just
be fine.
right. They're dragging us along. They're dragging us along to pull out our heartstrings, but they're not gonna kill him. And then that happens, and you don't even see it. Like you don't even. All of a sudden, it's just like with the characters. Then all of a sudden he's on the ground, split in half, and you're like, oh wait, this is all like another crazy asylum moment, right? Like
this
about it.
We're hallucinating right now.
I feel like as TV viewers, we have become conditioned a little bit to assume that even on a show where death comes as suddenly and frequently as Ash versus the Evil Dead, your core group is probably, in most shows,
untouchable.
if not untouchable, then not murderable.
Unless Robert Kirkman's in the hell.
But to such an extent that we were watching this episode before we came in to record this, and we're seeing Deadeye Lacey, and we're having this conversation really quickly, going like, oh, but Pablo can save her, right? Because he's got book magic. And that's probably where this is going. I feel better. And then she gets blown apart with bullets, like, nope. And then he's in two pieces. I guess not. Jeez.
I will say, though, and this is probably getting a little bit into predictions territory, so forgive us for not waiting till the end of the show to talk about this, but there is the possibility that time travel could come into play.
Fingers crossed.
Time travel. Well, I mean,
that time travel could come come into play.
We've seen some pretty
over the
serious
course-
time travel in the course of the history of the franchise of Ash
Exactly.
Evil Dead.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And what I love, and this is the reason I only watch soaps and sci-fi and stuff like this, is because no one is ever really dead. They'll come back.
Right.
We love Pablo. He's fine, right?
Listen, the whole chat is in complete denial with you. So
I know.
you're in
It's
very,
like
very
that.
good
That's why I
company.
like these shows. I'm like, no one's really dead.
We're just gonna cover her.
It's really funny because they keep going back and forth, and they're like, "Yeah, Kelly's totally like the little Ash. It's great. Ash is awesome. Pablo's not dead. Man, that scene with Lacey was really cool. It was not really sad that the sheriff died. Pablo's not dead.
Every other thing is Pablo's not dead.
They just have to keep reaffirming to themselves. He's not dead. He's not dead. It's gonna be fine.
Affirmations, guys.
I mean,
Positive affirmations.
he's dead right now. But,
Yeah.
but I will say, just to kind of speak to the whole thing about Pablo always staying, very positive, even in the light of being in the middle of a bunch of demon murders. He, when I thought that Ash was really being controlled by Ball, I was like, Pablo's going to be the one to save him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because Pablo's never going to stop believing. He's that emotional intelligence.
Right.
He's the heart.
Well, and someone actually had tweeted me earlier and said, I saw this coming at the beginning of the episode when Kelly was calling him a powerful vagina. Like, where'd my powerful vagina go?
Yeah.
Giving him another pep talk. Because Kelly's really been the rock for the trio.
Sure,
this
yeah, I
season,
agree.
In that sense of
Absolutely.
she's just trying to keep everyone together. Ash is was having his moments, and Pablo's being tortured. So Kelly's like, okay, I'm gonna
She's the
hold down the
foundation.
fort.
Even Ruby's losing.
Yeah.
her.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this it was very interesting, and that this fan said, I knew the minute that Kelly's like, we're gonna be okay, piece of cake. That it was almost that Kelly's overconfidence in the situation.
Yeah,
And he's
right.
like, it's like you're jinxing the whole thing.
Yeah.
So
What,
that's interesting to see how that's going to play out,
Yeah.
and if Kelly's going to be able to bounce back, because
Yeah.
I feel like guilt is a big thing for
Oh,
her.
yeah,
like, with
for
parents and everything.
sure.
I think
losing
that
Pablo.
she might have gotten to this point only to fall off the mountain. So
And
we'll see.
Kelly has also been kind of the go-between in a way. Like, she's the person who kind of can communicate and connect with everybody, like at least on a base enough level to get shit done.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I'm sure she and Ruby commiserate in terms of
Yeah.
take care of the boys.
I loved Kelly and Ruby's side quest to
Yes.
go kill the demon
Well, and
children.
now
Yeah.
Ruby's wearing purple leather jacket. I'm like, okay, Ruby, take that pointer from Kelly.
Yes.
Go ahead, let's have a little matching super dude team, little jacket.
I love
Yeah,
that.
those purple jackets are amazing.
Yeah, they are.
For real, by the way, I
Yeah.
want one. But you talk about Kelly being the rock for the group, and we've talked extensively about Pablo being the heart. So like you say, it's fascinating to think about how is Kelly going to deal with this without super positive, upbeat Pablo to lean on a little bit. And Emma, you brought up the positivity. What destroyed me about his last moment more than any other single element was the way Ray played it. It was the look on his face. It was this look of, guys, we did it.
I
And I'm like, I'm getting a little bit emotional sitting here revisiting it in my brain.
So yeah, let's talk about something else, because I'm gonna sit here and go firm in denial mode. You know what was great about this episode? That puppet fight.
Oh,
Yes.
Can I tell you something about this puppet fight? When it was getting really bad, and when he started biting her, and when the puppet seemed to be pretty firmly stuck on her hand, I was like, oh, is Kelly gonna lose her hand too?
I had that same thought.
I did. I was like, oh, Kelly's gonna have to cut her hand off.
There was a moment. I was very concerned about Kelly's hand.
Yes, that's it. I didn't even think of that.
yeah.
That should have been I mean, I did think of that, but
Yeah.
I didn't think that other people would see that in there. But it's true
Yeah.
because when he bites, and I don't even think you see it in some shots later, but full body shots. But the whole point was when he was biting, he really was drawing blood.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
Rob Tapper, when we were talking about it, one of the original, obviously, creators and producer, was like, this has to be a real threat. Like this, it can't be straight up comedy because the puppet has to put Kelly's life in danger. You have to think she's going to die.
Yes.
So then, so it was really trying to walk that fine line of, look, you don't want to play, I'm fighting with a puppet, that's funny enough. But
Right.
you got to raise the stakes and make that funny. And I will say, and then so I consulted Bruce because I'm like, you were the master of this. It's
Sure, you
clearly
can
an
do
homage.
models with your own hand.
Right, exactly. And it's clearly an homage, at least the way I took it to Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, of course.
And I said, how do you do that and balance the comedy in this? And because he makes it look so easy. Like everything. He makes he can deliver a one-liner like nobody.
Yeah.
And so he and Rob really gave some good little pointers, but it was tough. He makes it look super easy, and like having to puppeteer. I learned to puppeteer like that day, and trying to make it where it's like he's walking away, and then you tend to want to make the face of the puppet. So when it's like, oh, you got your hand in my puppet, it's like, wait, I'm gonna so he makes it look effortless, and it's a lot harder than it looks. So all hail the king, Bruce Campbell.
Absolutely.
But I had so much fun doing that scene.
Yeah.
That was a long day, and it was so much fun. And Sarah Thompson did all of the puppeteering. She's the real puppeteer.
Oh, the
when
like
it was off my
close-ups,
hand, like the close-ups. When you see it not on my hand, so props to her, because she was the laying down behind me. With one arm in a purple jacket, having the puppet on my neck, jamming me into that bedpan. So she did a really tough job trying to it was.
Renji in the chat said, I know it wasn't actually pee, but that bedpan part made me look away.
Good. Yeah, we got to do all the elements. We saw the morgue scene, and then Kelly had. If she is like the dying of her head, it would make sense.
Sure.
It would.
She has her face in bed.
Ash goes up the butt, you go in the pee.
There you go.
And Mighty B in the chat wanted the puppet to for you to cut off your arm so that you could have a chainsaw arm. But didn't Kelly want the flamethrower? So I think you need the flamethrower arm.
And that would have been. She could have cut off her arm if she'd had an axe. But she only had that guy.
Yeah, the gun.
I was kind of thinking.
We'll just leave the one hand to Ash.
Was this the episode
Exactly.
too where Kelly's reaction upon seeing the puppet was what the Fraggle Rock is?
Yes.
In the asylum. Yeah, that's episode 7.
That was in the last one.
Yeah.
Oh, but it was so good.
That was our writers. That line was written by Karen Walsh, and it makes me laugh every time.
Now, it's so funny because I don't even really notice it watching the show until Ted Raimi pointed it out to me, where he's like, man, like, Dana throws around a 4-letter word like none other.
What did he call me? He's like, you're like the Samuel L. Jackson of female swearing, the female Samuel Jackson. And I was like, I will take that. Thank you.
Compliment.
I like to say I'm paying a tribute to Susie Essman and Pam Adlon, who are my spirit. Because I feel like they swear better than anybody. But Rob Tabbert decided early on in the season, very early on, because with stars, when we're getting away with the things we're getting away with, like a perverted puppet who is, jumping on Kelly's crotch and being every possible way.
Right for the vagina.
Honestly, it's ridiculous. We can get away with saying anything, and he wanted to make it a point that because it becomes less funny or whatever. He's like, so we're gonna have. Ash will swear when need be, but it's always funny when Bruce says something like, dip. Put the rice and beans or whatever. He can make anything.
That's so true.
And he's like, so Kelly's really going to be the one who swears the most. And man, if you count, I was trying to count this episode. Don't even, I hope no one played. Ray came up with a drinking game, and he comes up with a different, every time Pablo says Fyffe, or every time he says the book or my children. And it's usually whenever Kelly swears. And if you tried it this time around, there would be lots of people in the hospital.
They would not have made it through the
which
actual
might have been a good thing.
Yeah.
To not make it through. Then they would be
just like, I fell asleep.
Right, then we could really
fine.
solidify this denial that's going on, because half the people watching the show wouldn't even see the end.
Especially if it was pink fucks,
Take a page from Ash's book, Ignorance is Bliss.
Yes.
And that's what we should have done.
Yep,
Exactly.
Yeah, my favorite Kelly line is still, I will fuck your face with bullets!
I love, thank you. That was one that I suggested. I asked if the writers, I'm like, can I say something so ridiculous in this moment? Because Kelly's screaming out the window the whole episode. I'm like, can I just for fun, can I say something like, fuck your face is horrible? And they were like, and the showrunner Craig and Cameron said, you know what?
Yep.
Just go ahead and do that.
Just try it.
I was like, okay. But I also really loved what they wrote for this one, which is, what did we learn today, Kelly? always bring a gun.
Gun to
Puppet
fight.
fight. Yes.
I mean, it is such a brilliant line. These people, they write. Our writers are incredible.
I did like too after the "fuck your faces with bullets" line. Michelle Hearn's affirmation being like, "Yeah, I totally bought it."
Yep.
It's about it.
No, you're good. Spot on. Yeah, Ted was saying that he wanted a supercut of all of the Kelly curses from this season.
Oh well, then I want a supercut of every time that Chet's like makes a non sequitur, a non-verbal noise, like like I want to do that because every time he speaks, like for me, one of the funniest moments. First of all, Ted Raimi is incredible and a genius actor.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yes.
the man of a million voices. Watching him and Bruce together, offset even was like the Bruce and Ted show.
Yeah.
You could watch it all day. But one of my favorite lines that I'm going to butcher was when Chet at the beginning was like, "What the hell is pink?" Or we thought
Pink Fun, yeah.
Pink Fun. And he's like, "It's proprietary blend." Blah, blah. And he goes close up. He's like, "Oh yeah, and there's a shit ton of ketamine in it." And he does this little like this weirdly creepy but oddly hilarious noise. That those nuances and magic that only Ted could bring to that role, and it was sad seeing him go too.
I know.
Why?
Yeah, I mean, this episode, I mean, them killing Lacey off like right out of the gate, man. That was rough. But I have to say, she was great Deadite.
Oh
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
No,
One of the scariest.
Oh, yeah.
That anytime, just like to throw back to the movies, anytime a Deadite laughs maniacally like that, I think that is the most. I think that is absolutely the most terrifying. And actually, side note, fun fact. That asylum that you're seeing, we did have to recreate certain scenes on a set, but the majority of that is an actual, I'm not lying, actual haunted asylum.
No! Awesome.
In New Zealand, it is really abandoned. They actually have had security there because certain areas you are not allowed to go in, and I went with like one of the behind the scenes camera guys to just like, oh, let's see.
You went to one of the forbidden areas?
Yes,
That's what you have to do. You have to
have
do
so
that.
much trouble.
Yeah.
The Stars probably has a video. We have so much trouble. But to the incredible Pepe Sanuga who played Lacey, to her testament, and there is proof. Weird shit had happened this entire time. I think we could do a whole other episode on the crazy shit that happened while we were filming 7 and 8 at the asylum. One of them being in that scene where she's the Deadite. And she goes in the room and Pablo's hitting her with a stapler gun. And that whole thing. She screamed so loud and so often that a photo. You know, when we're walking down the hallway.
Yeah.
When it's at the very beginning, when it's Ruby, Pablo, and Kelly, there are these photos mounted on the wall that were put there by art department, but they are mounted 15 feet in the air, right? Like 15 feet high. She was screaming so loud. Totally different part of the building. One fell and crashed, and it was the one with the nuns. And on one, because we do 2 cameras, on each cam, there is just a white flash. They got it on camera. I'm just saying.
Whoa.
People don't believe in spirits. You gotta come to that. I urge you to come to the
Fly to
haunted
New
asylum
Zealand.
in New
I
Zealand.
know.
We then drive 2 hours outside of Auckland. But it was.
That's crazy.
Honestly, and I love that stuff. I've always
Yeah.
like haunted houses and stuff since I was a kid. The most terrifying place I've ever been.
Well, and for me, like, when you guys made the decision to split up and all those scenes of Kelly just, like, wandering the hallways by herself with just the light on her gun, basically.
And even she is, like, you see that she's afraid. You know,
Oh,
she's
yeah.
Like, oh, great. And now I'm alone in this creepy-ass place. Yay, me.
Yeah.
super.
Now I know where I'm going on my next vacation.
Real well.
Yeah.
Oh, and Ash wants to kill us all. Great.
Awesome.
Okay.
Oh, and he just lit that hall on fire. Okay,
Yeah.
this is great.
That was pretty cool when he did that.
How cool was
Yeah.
that?
Yes.
That was
How
real
cool
cool.
was that?
Yeah, I liked Pablo's reaction too, where he heard him pouring the kerosene, and he was like, "Is he peeing?"
That's not pee. And we've all been there, of course.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and certainly this is the most intimidating I think Ash has ever been, just standing in that flaming hallway
With his crazy hair.
with his straight jacket. And it's just like, oh yeah.
How cool did he look though? In that?
He
I
looked
mean,
know.
really cool.
in a way that you didn't want. You want to just be like, no, go back to being Ash. But there's something so terrifyingly awesome about him being a little bad for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like we've seen quote unquote evil Ash in like
Sure.
several different incarnations.
Sure, yeah, he's been evil a couple of times.
We've seen him be a Deadite. We've seen an evil copy of him more than once.
Yep.
And so it was kind of cool to like, even though he was faking it, but like just to see him actually be evil for a little bit, it was like, whoa, guys.
And like the ratty straitjacket outfit, I think is a really good look for Bruce too. I think he can really rock. It reminds me a little
he
bit
looks
of
very intimidating.
reminded me a little bit of Ragman, actually.
Yes,
Ragman
yeah.
from Arrow, which is a reference for Lacretia.
Yeah, sorry guys.
But yeah, it's an insanely cool outfit they put together.
Ash Williams straitjackets available this fall after being on the runway.
But yeah,
Find them
not-
2 aisles over from the Ashy Slashy podcast.
you know, the perfect gift for the holiday season.
Right?
Oh, goodness.
But for me though, one of the like greatest characters in this episode was actually Linda.
Yes.
I mean, finally Linda
Yeah.
B.
I know.
Linda B can throw a punch. Who knew it?
Yep.
Look at that.
I know.
To be just coming out and like and really getting to have her moment in the sun of like, people always underestimate me.
Yes.
And that's a mistake.
And that first moment that she has with Kelly where, you know, where they're walking through the hall and she basically is like, Lacey's dead, isn't she? And
Right, because it's pretty obvious in that
Yeah.
scene before. You could just, even that scene before, right after they punch each other.
Right.
It's like, oh, I thought I'd make sure you weren't bald. Does that work? Yes.
Yep.
But when you see Kelly's struggle of like,
Yeah,
oh
well,
my
she
God, I
killed her
just killed
daughter.
Yeah.
And also, like, you know, this is a very sensitive subject for Kelly because losing her own mother and now feeling this guilt and all that stuff. So, but you see that Linda immediately catches on because Kelly, number one, is honest to a fault and is a terrible liar.
Yeah.
But you see the minute Kelly says, you know, just come with us. We have a way to stop all, and then after that, I'll help you find your daughter.
Right.
And you see, and Michelle plays it flawlessly, where you just see her, like, it's almost as if there's like a nightshade or something over her eye for a second, where she just goes,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's how that
And in
works
that
out.
moment, that's when she really, I think, that she
Yeah.
was like, you're lying
But
to me.
at the same time, there's also this sense of guilt too, because, you know, unbeknownst to Kelly, Linda is the reason Ash is in the predicament that he's in right now.
Yes.
And, you know, at this moment, Linda's the only one that knows that. And
Yeah.
so there's also that a little bit, that conflict. You know, she wants to find her daughter, but she's also responsible for doing this to her friend.
And I think it's so great that Joe M1K in the chat had put that this is the Linda that could. This is the Linda, you know, after
absolutely.
3 Lindas I think we're at, this is the one that sacks up and is a badass. I like that.
I want to
Yeah.
start that trend
Yeah.
hashtag.
Yeah.
Of
The Linda that could.
Yeah.
Linda B.
And it's so great too to see that, you know, her reaction of people being like, you know, oh, you didn't tell me because you thought I couldn't handle it. People have been underestimating me my entire life. Instead of like being crushed by the fact that her family died, and it's partially because of what she did and, you know, got, you know, convincing Ash to join Ball, even though he didn't really. But to see her reaction to, instead of being like, oh, I ruined everything, to be like, no, I'm going to handle this.
Well, and I love too how Kelly was immediately using it to connect. Like, look, I've been there. I've been where you are right now. And Linda's like, yeah, save it. I don't need the pep talk.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's also because Linda's like, I'm already planning on it igniting a fire, and you know, Kelly's just trying to say, look, yes, I've been there. This is a moment you can lay down and die, or you can fight. And yeah, trying to connect with, you know, because again, I think this is all going to catch up to Kelly because there is a lot of, even though Lacey was a Deadite. I mean, now it's that mother.
She
it's
still
that
knew her
that
when she
female
was a
bonding thing
kid
of,
too,
like,
when an actual or normal kid.
Well, absolutely, and so Kelly does feel all this guilt in that sense with Linda of like, I mean, yes, I killed your daughter though. Bottom line, like, I did.
It's almost like, I mean, so Ash kind of came into this world, and the very first thing he did was kill his sister and a bunch of his friends. Kelly came into this world and, you know, had to kill her mom basically, or was, you know, certainly involved in the killing of her entire family. So, but it's like how many more people that she knew for real does she have to kill before she gets to like Ash level?
Right.
Detachment.
Yes. When does that happen?
Yeah.
Does the puppet count?
Yeah.
Does the puppet count?
Oh, but I'm still actually not, and again, this is prediction territory, but I'm actually still willing to hold on to the theory that Lacey is Ash's daughter. Again,
Right.
if we are going to bring time travel and or some sort of magic to try to bring Pablo back, I'm not willing to count it out.
Yeah, maybe Lacey's just fine if we time travel.
If
you know?
we
We're
time
just-
travel,
yeah.
everybody's fine if we time
not?
travel.
Yeah, there's that other show we like.
Yeah, and that's why, as much as I love what Linda had to do in this episode, I love what Michelle Hurd is doing. I'm so afraid to get attached to this character because, as we know, this is not a great franchise to be named Linda in. A. And B, I remember sitting at this table talking to Peppy when she was here about what Lacey went through in the car and saying, you know what? Well, you've been through your initiation just like Kelly did. So
You
now
can join the club.
Yeah, for sure. You're in, right? You're in for the long haul. And then, no, I'm devastated.
It's just like with Heather the hiker, played by
Yes.
Sarah Leaving last year, where it's like, ooh, she's made it this far. Ooh, Pablo has a little crush on her, and ooh, Kelly's jelly, and now there's. And no. The minute it's like the minute you earn your stripes in this world,
Yes.
you're
You're
dead.
done.
You're dead. So it's, we're and clearly we have seen that literally no one is safe. No one is safe.
Yes.
As
I
we
mean,
have learned
dead
today.
is in the title of the show.
Yeah.
It
So
is, and I mean, it is in the title, and that's
I can't take credit for that. Ted kept saying that.
And just like that other show where Dead's in the title, they just kill everyone.
They really do.
Oh, that one. I know that
Those
one.
bastards.
It's a big show.
Yeah.
I hear good things.
I think people
Yeah.
like it.
I heard something. It's not as good as this one. Yeah.
This one has a little bit more of a sense of humor.
Yeah.
It does.
Can appreciate.
But it is like Dana, you and I were talking briefly before we came in here, and I said what really continues to blow me away about this show, beyond obviously how insanely well you guys are juggling horror, comedy, and heartfelt emotion, is how consistently surprising this show is without ever feeling cheap.
Yes, we were talking about that, and it's something that I had been saying at all the Comic-Cons or interviews before, leading up to before the season 2 started airing, and people thought I was like just giving lip service, and I said to people exactly what you're saying, that season 2 clears the bar of season 1, because like you said, season 1 was pretty great for season 1 of
absolutely.
a show that we're bringing back of this franchise, and just hoping it worked, and it did. You cannot fall victim to the sophomore slump of that tends to happen with TV shows.
Yeah.
So they had to go season 5 worthy stuff. Like if you look at just even a handful of these episodes alone, the first half of the season, that's season 4 or 5 stuff.
Yeah.
That we're just throwing all in, and it's like, how are you gonna top this? And every episode, I love that people have been like, well, they're not going to top that. How are they going to top that? After every episode. And now this one.
Yep.
How are you going to top this? Just wait.
Yeah.
Just
You killed
man.
the big bad.
You
You
just-
killed the big bad
Or
in this
it's true.
episode.
like to me, you had the butt stuff, which was hilarious, and then they bring in a puppet. It's like, how are you gonna top Ash in the butt? Ashy Slashy puppet.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, and how are you going to top Lee Majors and his dad coming
Oh,
on?
man.
musical
Yep.
episode.
We are so all about the musical
Listen,
episode.
yeah,
That
it
is
needs
what
to
we
happen.
should do. Season 3, when everyone's like, wow, we did that. We did musical episode.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed for musical. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for more puppets.
Yeah.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed for like alien deadites. Maybe they're out in the universe too, and like the aliens from Arrival show up, and they're like, Ashy Slashy.
Sam and Rob have definitely done musical episodes on their other shows.
Yeah,
Xena
totally.
Warrior Princess had some great musical episodes, so there's no reason that Ash vs. Evil Dead should not get an amazing musical
I agree.
episode.
I just want, and I've said that I think I'm like, we all should write stars, and before this episode, I'm like, we all should write stars and just make Ashy Slashy the puppet a series regular season.
Oh,
I think so.
Go ahead and do
Yeah.
that. Like, bring him. He's died twice. Let's bring him back.
Yeah.
But I just really want to see that puppet doing a musical number.
Yeah.
Like, well,
Yeah.
Oh, I just
like Saturday
just the
morning
ideas.
Oh my God,
children's
yes.
show
Yes,
style.
or something really like a Celine Dion song.
Oh,
or
yeah.
something
Yes.
so unexpected.
Oh,
for
I
Ashy
would
Slashy's
love it if they framed a whole musical episode around Ashy Slashy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I got so excited when it was revealed that, in fact, he didn't hallucinate this puppet. There's a real demon
it's
puppet
exist.
in this universe, which just opens so many exciting doors.
It has indeed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm so excited for it.
Charles J in the hashtag on Twitter is very distressed over Pablo's death, but is like everyone else on the internet convinced he's coming back.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
fine. It's
It's
gonna be
fine.
fine. I do kind of like watching this episode, I was like, how many times has Ray been hanging from the ceiling this season?
Oh my
you
God.
guys have been like knocking it out of the park in terms of the physicality this season. Just like, what do you think has been the most challenging part so far in terms of behind the scenes moments?
In terms of behind the scenes moments for, you mean like prepping for physical stuff?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking, you started talking, I was thinking about Ray's body, because that his
Well,
body needs its own credits.
I know.
Those
Dave?
arms, though.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh man, I know, when he was doing that in front of the window, I was like, go ahead. I also been telling people that as well. I'm like, season 2, wait for it. Pablo is shirtless a lot. And
Yeah, Christian Selesky in the chat says we need Ray naked in the woods. Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
that he's
Spin-off.
been saying that is his dream, and he may well be.
Yeah.
He definitely gets. I feel like Kelly got the most torture season 1 with the possessed in the cabin and stuff, and Pablo got way more torture season 2. It's like, so we got to trade. Who's gonna be? Well, we do have a season 3, but we don't know who's gonna be on it or not. So, but to answer your question, physically, the most physically difficult this season. Honestly, for me personally, it's an episode that is remaining.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right.
So, hope it's in there now. I've teased it. And it's just me walking and tripping over a tree stump.
Yeah.
Which did happen, by the way. Hopefully they have that on some blooper reel somewhere. Some scene, and I'm like, because in real life, I'm not nearly even remotely as cool as Kelly or as big of a badass. I'm I jump at my own shadow. But I'm walking. I almost gave something away. I'm walking and trying to be, I'm in there and I'm like, yeah, Kelly, I'm a badass. And I go to turn around and like have this David Caruso moment, put the shades on, and then it's like, and boom, and just fall out of frame. And instead of just letting it go, the camera guy, everyone was laughing so hard because it was that like a true moment that I was really trying to be cool. And he just brings the camera and like just looks down at me as I'm flat on my ass, looking up. It's amazing. It kind of is. I love that
DVD.
stuff, 'cause I'm
Yeah.
like, see, guys, it's a show.
Yeah, it's a show. It's
It's a
okay.
show.
Well,
It's
I
okay.
think especially when you're making something that does have a whole lot of death and destruction in it, like you gotta appreciate the
Yes, exactly.
the
When
funny
it's
moments that go into making it.
right,
yeah.
especially because this has been, like you've all said, such an emotional season.
Yeah.
So when there's something, when there's a moment like that, it's like, okay, it just feels good to laugh.
Yeah.
because
For sure.
it just feels to laugh.
So good.
It's good. It's been very, very intense. But I can say there are some, not even for the physical stuff, but the last 2 episodes I'm not gonna say won't disappoint because maybe they will. Who knows? But I will say that they will not let up in terms of topper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
I believe
That's all I gotta
that.
say.
I believe that.
You might love it. You might hate it. You might just curl up in a ball, or you might be like, "This is the greatest show of all time."
I'm going to be doing that in a ball.
Yeah.
Yes.
Basically.
I will be doing that and still protesting.
This is one of the few shows where after a very bloody opening, I can sit here and go, I love this show.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, I'm just like, oh, why?
I heard
hate
you, by the way. I heard you. I walked in and I saw you guys screaming at the episode to the point where everyone in the offices were like looking. They were all watching their own shows, and someone said something like, "That's what a show. That's what it sounds like when a show really gets you." I don't know who it was, but someone else.
It
wanted
does,
to show.
man. It really
It
does.
does.
Yeah, I almost feel bad for the other shows that are here.
Don't feel bad.
Well,
Don't feel
well,
bad.
they're
No,
here.
fuck 'em.
No.
No. Oh wait.
Just
no.
make them jealous of how much better our show
Yeah,
is.
Oh, yeah.
always having a good time watching it, as opposed to like some people, it's just like,
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're
Yeah.
looking at your phone while you're watching our show, then we're doing something wrong.
Yeah, that's
Because
impossible.
it's one of those things you look at your phone, it's like, oh, it's over already. Oh, God. Oh, my, so much happened.
No,
Yeah.
this show is so good that even my roommate who hates horror movies and refuses to sit down and actually watch Army of Darkness with me.
That's a comedy,
loves-
basically.
I know,
It is, it
but,
is.
but she's been tricked before. But she loves this show, and she's like that's how good this show is.
Yeah.
Is it even makes
Amazing.
non-horror fans want to sit down and know what happens week to week.
Amazing. Well, and tell her if she's watching the show, way scarier than Army of Darkness.
what
I will call her myself and be like, if you like the show, you have to watch at least that.
Yes.
Perfect.
Where it came from.
Well, we are running a little short on time.
Yep.
Do you guys want to go into some really quick predictions?
Sure. Really quick predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I predict that Pablo is going to turn into a big vagina, like on South Park whenever Stan quit eating meat. I mean, he is a powerful
Perfect.
vagina.
Powerful
So,
vagina.
Yeah, he's just going to manifest as an actual
Vagina.
powerful vagina.
You know what? Kelly would not be mad at that.
Yeah.
No.
It's powerful and beautiful and life affirming.
Yep.
He'll become an
Yep.
actual ghost, and so that he can be the mascot for the ghost beaters.
Yeah.
You just hit like an animated ghost Pablo with
Yeah.
bats, like, in a circle
With
on a
his rusty
t-shirt.
chain.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
I like it.
I'm in just as powerful an amount of denial as the rest of us. What does give me a little bit of hope, yeah, maybe the time travel thing is there's something there. But also, even before we get that far, we've spent how much time in this universe trying to destroy the book? If Pablo is in fact becoming more and more the Necronomicon, it may make Pablo a little bit more difficult to destroy in any final sense.
I agree with that.
Then he's in two pieces and we're putting him in the trunk now.
Right, and if there is still, because like, obviously Pablo is like becoming the book, but he hadn't fully become
Right.
the book. So if the book still exists in the dimension that they banished it to,
Yes.
then Pablo's still connected to that.
I just really like how earlier in the episode, Pablo's like, I'm not giving up on him because he wouldn't give up on me. And now he's dead, and I feel like it's safe to say that Ash isn't going to be giving up on him.
No.
Yeah.
Which I think says a lot about where Ash has come and
Yes.
how far he's come as a character.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. I think that just about does it for predictions. Dana, do you have any upcoming projects that you can talk about? I know a lot of times stuff is in the works and NDAs. Is there anything you can talk about that you'd like to let our audience know you got coming up?
Well, thank you for asking. Yes, there's two films, quite the departure from the show. There is no blood. Spoiler alert! What a bummer. No, but I'm so proud of them, and such a great time doing them. One is The Mad Ones, which is the MadOnesMovie.com, or the MadOnesMovie.com, about three 20-somethings trying to figure out their purpose in life, and in a world where everything is virtual, finding something that's real and having a pure experience.
Nice.
The other one is a short film that's supposed to be made into a feature, and it's got an all-star cast. It's called Three Women, and I think it's threewomenfilm.com, written by and directed Alex Bay. Abigail Spencer, who's the lead on
of course.
yeah. She's in it. The amazing Anna Camp.
I love her.
Anna Camp.
PJ Byrne.
Oh wow, this is a great cast.
It's amazing. So that keep your eye out for that. And then something I got to cross a lot of things off my acting bucket list on Ash vs. Evil Dead this season, like playing an insane person and fighting with a puppet. I got to do something else, cross off my bucket list on a different show, and I got to voice a character on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
And you worked with my dear friend Eric Bauza.
Yes. So I believe I finally heard. I think that's coming out. That episode is the spring of this of 2017. So
Okay, good.
cowabunga.
Yes, and that show is so good. For anybody who's not watching the new one, it is like the best turtle.
Yeah, it's really fun. So yeah, that's great.
I got to see turtles in concert, guys.
Oh.
I am the only person on the planet who saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in concert.
No,
Squeezed Leonardo's leg. I rushed. I was a groupie. No, he wasn't even my favorite turtle.
See, I saw Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers in concert, and
Wait, have you actually seen Turtles in concert?
Yeah, they
Oh
did.
my God, we need
It's
to talk
Six
about
Flags
this.
and
Not in front of
yeah.
all of these fine people.
and I used to be
But-
Michelangelo for some of the appearances.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
We're so
Yeah.
good. Feeling the feel. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go ahead and be in denial and protest as long as we're talking about
Turtles.
feeling-
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
turtles.
So who is
Exactly.
your favorite turtle?
Yeah.
If Leonardo wasn't your favorite.
It was Michelangelo.
He was a party dude.
He was a party dude, and I liked that he liked pizza
Yeah.
so much.
Yep.
I don't know what I'm sad about.
Yeah.
Nothing to be ashamed of there. Well, do you guys have any other questions for our fantastic guest before we wrap up this evening?
Oh, and you guys got it with who's your favorite turtle, you know?
Yeah, it's like, where do you go from there?
That's
Like,
like the
That's hard to
ultimate.
get.
Well, and I love, I follow you guys. I watch the show. You're always so entertaining and so fun. So you guys know, tweet me and all that.
Yeah.
I'm Dana DeLorenzo. We always chat.
We
on
do.
there.
We talk on Twitter.
But I'm very curious to see if your predictions are correct.
Yes.
Or even partially correct.
Yeah.
Or if they are so not even close
Yep.
that you're going to be sitting here in the next 2 weeks like,
Why did I say that?
yeah. So I don't know.
Definitely been there before. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yes. Just when you think you got it figured out, they throw a curveball and all of a
do.
sudden
Super true.
you're picking up the pieces.
This show loves to keep us guessing, and that's why we love to watch.
And we love you guys, so thank you so much for all the things you guys do for our show.
Yeah. Well, it is 100% our pleasure.
Absolutely.
Cannot say that enough. Again, thank you, Dana, so much for coming in and chatting with us. This has been an absolute ball.
Thank you, and thank you fans who've been following along in the chat room.
Yeah.
Thank you. I hope I'm looking at you. If not, or over here. I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys so much, and can't wait for you to see what's coming up the last two.
Yes.
Us too. Emma, where can people go if they want to keep up with you?
Well, I'm mostly on Twitter at Emma Fyffe, which is my name. I'm also that on Instagram, and if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know everything I'm doing because I tweet all the time.
Since I'm Lacretia Lyon, guys, you can always find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet since there is only one.
I am Lex Michael, all over social media at the Lex Michael.
I'm Megan Salinas. You guys can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, and I write articles for the Movie Chick. That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out. Don't forget, please go to iTunes to rate, subscribe, leave a comment. We will give you a shout out on the show, assuming that iTunes is actually working and showing.
It's been fun today. Yeah.
It's been real weird.
Yeah.
But again, thank you guys so much. Thank you to everybody in the hashtag and the live chat. Thank you again, Dana. We love you guys. We will see you all next time. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Hashtag Pablo's not dead.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.